Hello, it's Emma here, and in this week's video, I really want to talk to you about spirituality and why I keep talking about it, even though I mostly talk about health and fitness. What has spirituality got to do with that? So that's what this week's video is all about. So if you haven't met me before, my name is Emma Paulette. I'm a personal trainer, health coach, yoga teacher, and Reiki master. And I'm on a mission to help women understand that their mental and physical health is also important as well as their spiritual health. And so in this week's video, I really wanted to dive into that spiritual health and sort of help you understand that even if you ate perfectly every day and did a heap of exercise every single day, it might not mean that you feel happy, which is actually what we're really looking for in life, I think. So in this video, I really want to talk about that other aspect that's not often talked about when it comes to fitness, and that is our sense of spirituality. So when I'm talking about spirituality, I'm not talking about religion necessarily. Of course, if you are religious, that's great, and I'm really happy that you have found something that works for you. And obviously, I think when I start to talk about spirituality for the rest of this video, you'll connect to what I'm talking about, because that's probably what you're getting from your religion, and I hope that's the case. If you're not particularly religious, that's okay as well. So spirituality doesn't mean that you have to follow a certain set of practices that you might see in a formal religion. It's really about two things only. It's about connection and it's about purpose. And so in this video, I want to talk about those two things and how they help you with your physical and mental health. So connection is all about feeling connected. I don't really know how else to say it, but there's multiple ways that we find connection in our lives, and I just want to talk through a few of those. The first one is really a connection to ourselves and really getting to know who we are as a person. And what happens, especially in this world we live in now, there's so much media around us, social media, TV, magazines if you still read them, podcasts, all the stuff we consume all day can make us feel like that what we feel truly on the inside isn't right, because there could be like a dominant thing, theme of the world. And for instance, let's say that, being thin is equal to being healthy, that we might consume and see and feel like, well, I don't fit into that mold. So maybe I need to fit into that mold to be able to succeed or to get on in life or whatever. So when we talk about connecting to ourselves, we really want to learn to connect to who we truly are. So for instance, nowadays postmenopausal, my body's changed a lot. I'm never going to be the skinny person I was when I was younger. And so I need to connect to how I can be the healthiest version of myself, regardless of how my body looks out on the outside. So that's connecting into what is important to me, as opposed to all the pictures I see that says that, even though I'm, getting close to 50, that I should still be able to get skinny, because, we see lots of those things. So that's just one example, but like connecting to what you really love. Maybe you love classical music, even though most of the music we hear on the radio or on TV or whatever isn't classical. Or maybe you really love being in your garden, but you work so much that you really have time to get into your garden. So it's really like finding those things that are important to you and knowing who you are and being able to be proud of who you are and love the person that you are. So that's how we can, that's what I mean by connecting to ourselves. There's lots of ways to do that. Spending time alone, meditating, journaling, doing things for yourself, putting yourself first, are ways that you can learn to, or you can actually connect to yourself and then learn who you truly are. The second type of connection is probably coming a little bit more naturally to most of us, and that's connecting to others. And so that might be your family, that might be your partner, it might be your workmates, it could be people in the greater community. But we're not an island. We can't get through this life on our own. So it's important to find connections with others. And that doesn't mean that you have to have 100 friends and that's going to make you happier. It doesn't necessarily mean you need a lot of people in your life, but you need true and authentic connections with others to really thrive. And sometimes we end up putting those people first. So remember, you still need to connect to yourself even when you are connecting with others. And what I mean by that is Find people that align to your values and believe in the same things as you and think the same things are important, because you don't want your friendships and your relationships to be stressful, because that doesn't help our physical or mental health. So you need to, find out who you are, connect to yourself first, to then be able to have those really true, supportive, nurturing relationships. The third type of connection that I think is really important is connecting to nature. And whether you live in a big city or you're, in a more regional area like myself, or even you have even more space if you're out somewhere that's even more remote, we need to spend as much time in nature as possible, because we are so lucky to live in this world. And we all know that there's a lot of, climate change happening, and, the science says that if we continue the way we are, the planet's not going to be that great for our kids or our kids' kids. So we really should be connecting to nature. And I think part of why the planet hasn't been looked after as well as it could be is because we don't spend much time in nature. We take it all for granted. We let the farmers do all the farming so we've got stuff to eat, but we don't think about where that stuff comes from unless we're part of a farming community. So it's great for us to connect more to nature any way that we can, whether that's a walk every few days and not just on the footpath, but getting into a more natural environment. But if you don't have a lot of nature around you, it might be just finding a patch of grass that you can sit on every once in a while, just so that you can feel that connection. And then the fourth type of connection is really about, for want of a better word, connecting to a higher power. So as I mentioned at the beginning, if you're religious, you probably find this really easy. You've got your God or whoever that is part of that religion that you are connected to. But for some of us who aren't in a religion, that can feel really difficult. And so when I think about a higher power, for me, I often refer to it as the universe. But even besides that, even that word makes me feel a bit funny sometimes. So I sort of just think, for me, connecting to something higher or bigger than me is just understanding that the right things for me will happen, and that I can trust that everything's working out. So I've connected to myself and found out what's important to me, and I take steps towards getting the goals that I want and all those sorts of things. But sometimes everything doesn't work out. So connecting to that higher power is understanding that even when things don't work out, I'm going to be okay. And again, that's why it's really great to be able to connect to others, because then when things don't work out, we have those authentic relationships that are going to support us in those times of need. But, you might have your own ideas around a higher power, but really I'm leaving this section very, very broad because it is very individual. Go back to connecting to yourself. You're going to have your own way of connecting to a higher power. And I'm about to talk about purpose, but purpose can help with that, because sometimes it's just understanding that we are a small part of a bigger picture. We're one person on the whole planet. And so we're important, but so is everybody else. And so sometimes our purpose can help us with that, because we can understand that whatever we're doing in the world might be one small thing, but our little small thing is helping the whole world be a better place. So I'll talk about that a little bit in a second, but just getting back to that connection to something bigger and greater than us. And the reason that's helpful for our health and fitness and our mental health is that understanding and that trust that everything's going to work out. We can heal ourselves if we get injured, we can't exercise anymore. We can heal our mental health or our mental struggles if we've been having some issues. There's lots of things we can do to make ourselves feel better, and just understanding that however we were created, that's part of it. We're these amazing human beings that have these ability to be resilient and to heal, and that's all part of getting fitter, getting healthier, and living a happier life. So the other part of spirituality that I wanted to talk about is purpose. And really, we need a reason to get up in the morning, right? And if we are, not feeling very healthy physically or mentally, or we're stuck in a job that we hate, or we haven't been eating great food, or we're not exercising much, it feels really hard to just get out of bed. And I actually thought about this morning. I really don't think anyone jumps out of bed, especially once you're getting a bit older and the body's getting a bit sorer. But I know that when I wake up now, my body doesn't physically just jump out of bed, but in my mind, I'm like, yeah, I'm ready to get up. I'm ready for the day to happen because I've created this life that makes me feel like I have a purpose, and my purpose is to help you and whoever else is watching this video to feel healthier and fitter and happier in their lives. So that's my purpose, and that gives me a reason to get up in the morning, makes me want to look after my body and my mental health so that I can continue doing this, and makes me feel happy with my life. And again, that's what our health and fitness is all about, is to help us feel happy. So it's really important to find a purpose for you. And I know that, in several times in my life, I've gotten bogged down in jobs that I didn't like, that took up longer periods of my time than I would have appreciated or really wanted, or relationships that have made me feel bad about myself. And so that's all affecting my purpose. It's all affecting my ability to get out of bed in the morning. It is connected to my connections, right? So can you see how it's all connected together? But when I am not looking after my purpose, or I'm not taking actions that feel like my purpose, and by the way, your purpose can change 100 times in your life. And by the way, it doesn't have to be something grand. It can be something quite small. But when I'm not connected to my purpose, I don't eat well, I don't exercise well, I don't look after my body, I don't feel happy. So that's why following your purpose, finding your purpose, even if it's just something little tiny thing like, I love my dog and I want to be able to walk him every day. If that's your purpose for right now, I love it. Keep going. You know what I mean? So find something that's right for you. So they're the two things when it comes to spirituality. And I think spirituality is such a big word. And I remember when I first started my health coaching studies, and spirituality was in the first lecture, and I kind of rolled my eyes a little bit. I wasn't really that impressed with the idea that spirituality had anything to do with health, because I thought it was that kind of God stuff, which I personally don't feel comfortable with. But as I've, went through the coaching program and learned to be a coach myself, I've understood that let's take out that word spirituality and move into connection or purpose, and make that important to you. So I hope this video helps you see how spirituality and purpose and connection are all important to your health and fitness. In my 6-month health coaching program, Love Yourself to Health, these are some of the things that we'll go through over the 6 months, and not necessarily overtly all the time, but it will be woven through the 6 months so that you become really connected to this sense of spirituality in your health and fitness life, and this life that you want to live that's supposed to be happy, and how that helps you move forward. And there'll be a link to my program with this video, and you are invited to a free 15-minute discovery session with me to see if the program is right for you. So thanks so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.